Again, the podcast, you guys were talking on an episode of the podcast about that look needs to have like a classy feel, sexy, but still classy.
Yeah, we're not here to interview a street hooker.
Right,
and I've had women show up like that.
Yeah, because that's what I thought at first. I thought that's what was necessary because I watched that show, The Girlfriend Experience. So I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in Japan and the rest of the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Desiree...
The shocking.
The shock. You are so right. You were right last time, and you are still correct.
Shocking.
The shocking stories of sugar dating. We have Desiree in the house. Thank you for filling in again for Lily. She is in recovery, but good news. She's doing a lot better. She thought she might be able to make it in today, but she had some family obligations. But she's healing up nicely, going to be ready for the party. And Desiree filled in at the very last minute, so we appreciate that. I love these type of shows because I don't get to do them a lot because we always have guests, but I've got a ton of listener letters and some situations. We're going to talk about the party. We're going to talk about me being back on Seeking and some of the messages I get and some of the profiles I read. This is going to be a very informational show. I think you're going to get a lot out of that one. But let's talk about Patreon. Desiree, you're on there.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Patreon's a full-time job now.
You know what? It is for me. I don't know about you guys, but if you guys haven't joined our party at Patreon, I highly encourage it. You are missing out. I was on Reddit today, and somebody says, hey, is there a place that I can just meet other sugar babies? Because I don't know anybody in my area, and I don't have any friends that do this. I'd like to congregate with other people to do this. Patreon is the place to do it. We have assembled this really cool community for sugar dating, sugar babies, sugar daddies. And you just go to patreon.com/secrets of a sugar daddy podcast. I've got a link to it on our website. I've got a link to it underneath the description of this podcast. It's very easy to find, but we want you to join us. We've got some options on there. We got a free option, and we do put out quite a few free things. You get to hear teasers. Like, so when I post the episodes and extra sugars, I give a 10-minute teaser. So even though you don't get to hear the entire thing unless you are a tier member, you still get to kind of get an idea of what's coming up. So we that's what they're called, teasers. We would love for you, though, to help support the show and become a tier member. It only starts at $10 a month. That literally opens up the entire site, right, Desiree?
Yes, it really does.
You get everything. No matter whether you're 25 or 75, $10 opens up everything. We do have some additional tiers where it includes coaching and profile reviews. And even if you just want to help the show and you just like, I don't really need that, but I'm going to do a higher tier. That's always appreciated. I promise you, the money goes to good causes. Matter of fact, I'm looking at I've never ever withdrawn any money from our Patreon group, and it's starting to add up a little bit. I'm looking at the money I have in there, and you know what I'm going to do with a lot of it? I'm paying for sugar baby flights to our party is what I'm doing with it. I might have overcommitted a little bit on this one. We got some great sugar daddy sponsors, but it still wasn't quite enough money to get us in the black. But I don't care. We're having this party. It's going to be fun. It's going to be off the hook. We're going to have more of them. We are actually funding more sugar baby flights than I anticipated. So that's kind of where some of the money goes, is for the party, the promotion, the production. I mean, this place, I just paid the bill for the podcast studio, and that's not cheap. So there's a lot of expenses that you help us out with just by being a Patreon member. But you get a big bang for your buck. Desiree, do you actually listen to the episodes and Extra Sugars when I put those on there before they're released to the public?
Yeah, not only do we listen to them early, we've actually started getting spoiled and greedy. So now if it's not posted like right the millisecond when we're ready, we start chatting, we're like, where's that?
Yeah, right.
Like, what's going on? We're already getting it early, but
Yeah.
that's not good enough for us. We're podcast hungry.
Well, I've been traveling every weekend, and that's usually when I post them. And then Lily's been out, and she hasn't been able to edit them. So I've been doing all this extra work, traveling, going to Vegas, working on my real estate, trying to edit these things now. And they take hours. We might do an hour podcast, but it'll take 3 to 4 hours to edit it.
Wow.
Yeah, because you listen through, you've got to enhance some volumes, you got to take out some filler words and make everybody sound amazing. When you listen back to your episodes, can you tell that we've really cleaned them up?
I mean, yeah. It sounds fantastic.
You're like, I sound amazing.
Oh, yeah. So whatever y'all are doing, then 3-4 hours, whatever it takes, that's fine.
Yeah, when you talk to me in person, you're going to get a different person than you get in the podcast, because Lily is a magician at making us all sound amazing. So we really appreciate her and want her healed and back as soon as possible.
Yes, we're ready.
Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, you get such a big bang for your buck. You get to hear all the episodes and extra sugars before we release them to the public. Mm-hmm. The chat room is very interesting.
That
Wouldn't you
alone
say?
is worth the money. I went from being a sugar baby in the sugar bowl, having pretty much nobody to talk to about it at all, other than just listening to the podcast. But since I've been on the Patreon for several months, I mean, my phone is full of 4 or 5 text threads.
It's crazy.
That I have with other sugar babies from all over the U.S. that, you know, we go on a meet and greet and we're texting before the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Sometimes during the meet and greet, after the meet and greet. Talking
Isn't
about,
it nice to have somebody to bounce ideas or situations off of? It's
Absolutely.
really cool.
Oh, yeah. My whole world's turned upside down now. Not just me, but a lot of those girls. The podcast itself has made a difference in our lives, for me, literally financially, but also now there's that expanded piece that wouldn't have happened without the Patreon, being able to make those connections, make those friends. And I mean, by the time we all get to the party, I mean, we're liable to pretty much just be best friends already. Like, it won't even be meeting each other. It'll just be, oh, hey, nice to see you again.
I'll tell you what, the party has evolved. So our first few parties, you kind of work your way into things and you take the good and then the bad. You say, okay, we can improve on that. Take the good and enhance on it. This party has evolved into something I never dreamed. First of all, we have more people come to this party than I have room for. So I had to call Footprint Center and say, look, dude, I know we have 44 tickets, but I need more. And he was like, you're in luck. We have a suite just a few suites away. They canceled on us. Instead of the 44 tickets, I can get you 50. So now we have extra tickets. People are coming that I didn't have room for. We're squeezing them in. We have a tattoo artist as one of the sugar babies, and she's bringing some equipment. So we posted that on Patreon. I can't believe how many people are like, oh, yeah, I'm in. I want a tattoo. And then some people are like, I'm going to get the logo from Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. I'm like, wait.
What?
Hopefully this is not like tattooing your boyfriend's initials on your body, and then later you're like, oh, that was dumb.
No, it went from, oh, who's Hootie and the Blowfish? Nobody knows anything.
Right.
To now it's everybody and their mom is like, hey, can I get tickets to the party? Like, it's crack. Hey, you got any more of those party tickets? What's going on with the party? I'm like, we've been talking about the party for months. You can't just come in at the last second. I mean, you can, but now it's just like everybody is, it's like, that's all that anyone can talk about now. Like, if you're not going to the party, it's like, what are you doing, you know, in your life?
So not only are we giving away 3-day, 2-night accommodations, we are also paying for a lot of airfares to and from Phoenix. We got a pre-party at the W. Dr. Charles has a suite there. Bad Brad has a suite there. I don't know, maybe some other people, but we got plenty of room. So that's the mixer. And then we got a pre-party the day of the concert. That's going to be Saturday. So there's going to be more food and drinks. Then we got the party bus. And you've seen videos of the party bus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. You wouldn't imagine so much could go on a 20-minute ride to and from the arena where we're going to see the concert. It gets a lot of fun. It's party music, stripper poles, people dancing. It gets a little rowdy in there. There's also beer and wine and booze in the party bus. And then we get to the suite, more shenanigans. Going to see some great bands, some classic bands. Come back. The party continues until who knows when. And then, Sunday we're going to have a brunch and then start taking people back to the airport who need to get out of there. Some people are actually staying till Monday.
Yeah, I saw that in the chats and the Patreon. I was like thinking it was going to be just, okay, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now it's like, now there's planning for Sunday night. Now it's like, well, maybe Monday we're going to do something. Next time you have the party, it's going to be like a 7-day extravaganza.
I know. Well, here's what happened last year. So there was about 7 or 8 people that kind of hung on until Monday. They all went out to dinner. I wasn't a part of this, but they all went out to dinner that night, got to know each other even better, and just had a fantastic time bonding. And I'm kind of at this point going like, okay, guys, I got to go back to work because I just spent a fuckload of money on this party. But you guys have fun. Enjoy each other's company while you're here in town. Like the girl from Australia, I think she's going to be staying a few extra days. Why wouldn't you if you've come all this way?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I get it. But, we do have some accommodations that they can stay in if they're going to stay a little bit extra. So anyway, it's going to be fun. I look forward to it. Like this podcast is coming out that week. So as we are talking about it now, it'll be just in a day or two. And really, really looking forward to making a lot of new friends. Oh, and what I was going to say is like last year, everybody got to know each other at the party. You guys already know each other now.
Yeah.
From the Patreon, and we've, kind of put out pictures and names of all the people who are going to be there. You're in these chat groups. You're in these
the chat groups
WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
It's going to be like long lost friends. Like, oh my God, how are you? Like you've known these people forever.
Oh yeah, we're coordinating outfits, getting hairstyling and makeup artists lined up so people can get on the list. We got somebody coordinating a makeup artist.
See, isn't that cool? That we didn't have that last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's getting.
We got a photographer who will do some model shoots for people that maybe want to update or freshen their profile pictures. I highly suggest it. Lily and I were talking about that today. We go through Seeking and we're looking at some of the pictures. She does profile reviews for people, and I do too. I help her with it. But she's like, these girls, they need to get better at taking these pictures because what they're presenting is not that attractive. I've seen videos of these girls. They present themselves beautifully and elegantly and sophisticated, but it's not coming across. So we're going to help them with that.
Yeah, I wish Seeking would allow the video feature, allow that back again, because that really
did it
was
used
helpful.
to be on there?
I think they had something where you could do just like a little temporary video, like did they call it a vibe or something?
Oh, they did have the vibes. I really enjoyed those actually, because seeing a picture, but then actually seeing a moving person, hearing them talk, seeing their mannerisms is a complete different animal.
Absolutely.
Have you been keeping up with what's going on with Seeking, where the CEO is coming back?
Yes, we were just actually looking at that, talking about that in the chat.
You were?
Yeah.
So they're rebranding it again from dating up to hypergamy. I don't know what to think of that. What do you think of it?
I kind of frowned up at that. Unless they're making changes that are going to be helpful to the way that the site works, then they just need to leave it be.
So here's what's funny. I chatted with this girl. I never met her. I chatted with her in Vegas. Okay, first of all, I encouraged her to listen to this podcast. She put 29 on her profile. She gave me her real number. She's 48.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Now, I saw her Instagram. I was able to find her real name. Gorgeous, stunning, can pass for 35 or 40, but 29, come on, really?
It's a stretch.
That's a big stretch. But anyway, she knows Mr. Brandon Wade and knows Shannon, his wife, who's like 21 now or 22.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I didn't realize she was so young.
Yeah. And they've been married for a little bit now, a couple years. But has it been a couple years?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. They had just had a recent anniversary.
Cradle robber there. But anyway, so together they have taken back over the company, which tells me they weren't happy with where it was going. We've all been seeing some changes in that website, not liking them. I'm hearing, feedback from people just getting banned left and right. And I talk to people who are like, I don't even know what I did. All of a sudden I'm banned. I didn't even do anything.
Yeah, we were talking in the group chat about how some of the girls were trying to upload some photos, like some swimsuit photos or like pictures of them in like a short dress. And they would just keep trying to upload the photos. And Seeking kept saying, nope, violation.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, so they're trying to just not put anything inappropriate. Just a simple bikini shot was getting shot down by the Seeking photo review. They weren't allowing them to put the photos.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, it's really the only option out there among, I don't know, I'd say like half a dozen options. It's really the only one that works well.
Yeah, Secret Benefits has been pretty good for a few of us.
Yeah.
That we've been talking to each other, that Secret Benefits has actually been
Which is also sugardaddy.com, same company. But
it's not
same
been too bad either.
Interface.
Yeah.
But Seeking is the big one. And we literally have no control on how it's operated or how things are done over there. I wish we had an input. Actually, they're going to start a podcast. CEO. It's going to be, I think, called Ask Brandon.
Yeah, I saw that when I was.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know, I saw that.
Have fun with that.
Like, yeah, they're going to be asking him. Hey, better get ready.
I don't know if he realizes all the work and time involved in producing something like that, but it sounded like he was just going to come on like every couple weeks and do a podcast.
Yeah, just something like informal, just kind of loose. But I kind of chuckled when I saw that.
But the thing is, they don't want to promote sugar dating. So what else are they going to talk about?
They're going to have
because people that are going to be asking them questions are going to want to know about sugar dating.
I still feel like that's what people go to Seeking for. And I actually was telling my friend, I said, I feel like he got what he needed out of the site. And then now he's trying to keep rebranding it and making it more difficult for other people to essentially go after what
exactly
he was
the
after.
same thing that he got.
Yeah,
right.
So I'm like, you can't get what you need, and now try to put up all these barriers to make it harder for other people who just want the same thing.
I don't know if you know, but I used to be an affiliate with them, but then they banned me because I have sugar in the name of our podcast. It's not allowed. So at one time they welcomed me with open arms, and then all of a sudden they say, nah, you're banned.
Like, so, I mean, this podcast is bringing them business.
Oh, I know, 100%.
End of story.
Yeah, I have many letters from people who've actually confirmed that they've gone to Seeking because of the podcast. So anyway, we'll just leave it right there. Let's get to some comments and letters. I got this actually today on Instagram, and that's a great way to reach me. You can message me at our website, info@secretsofasugardaddy.com. You can message me at our Instagram page, Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, or Patreon. So those are really good ways to get a hold of us. I check those. I mean, I'm on my phone all the time. So when they come in, right? So I just got this on Instagram. She says, I would love to hear y'all. I love that. I'd love to hear y'all talk about the topic of trust. I am just starting out being a sugar baby and am discovering my need to get to really know a sugar daddy before having sex does not go over well. I am not capable of fucking a stranger. Well, good for you. You shouldn't be doing that. I need to know I can trust him, be safe around him, and that he is not a crazy person. How the hell are men capable of fucking a woman they just met for one dinner? All right, we're wired different. Yeah. So thoughts, Desiree?
Yeah, we're literally just talking about this in our little side group chat of just kind of going back and forth about who's good with just kind of jumping into something, who needs more time and this and that. And, honestly, my thoughts on it were just, that's kind of part of the game. That expectation for everything to be expedited, that's the reason a lot of people actually do sugar dating, is because they want to kind of leapfrog over that initial process of, like with traditional dating, I want to, go on 3 dates or 4 dates, and then we'll have sex after that, and then it's all this and that. But all of those calculations and things kind of pull out of the picture. So as far as trust is concerned, and this is the advice I gave to another sugar baby, I said, hey, if you're cut of the cloth where you need, I think she might have mentioned she'd prefer a month. That was the waiting period she felt comfortable with before, from the date of meeting to the first experience, this first sex experience. She was saying a month. And I remember telling her, that might be pushing it, know, and I wasn't saying compromise on your values, but in the sugar world with a lot of these guys, that's going to be a long stretch, so you have to kind of step back and in a way kind of reevaluate your beliefs and say, is this in line with what's going to work in the sugar game? You know, if you're really serious about landing that good match, there's got to be ways to kind of get past that. And then if you really need to know someone that deeply before you move on to it, the sugar dating world may not necessarily be the best fit.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel about it. I know that's blunt, but
every situation is a little different. There's no black and white answer here.
Right.
But you've got to feel it out, and then communication about that. It's hard to talk about, but if you set the expectations up front, it makes it a little bit easier. During COVID, I had a couple girls actually. So they actually came over to my house because, you know, everything was shut down. And I made them dinner and we just chatted. And then we went in my room and started fooling around. And we fooled around, but I mean like heavy petting. But they go, "You're not getting in my pants. Not on the first date." I'm like, okay. I can respect that. So anyway, the second date came over. They were all about it. I mean, they were wild in bed and crazy. And I was like, oh my God, this was totally worth waiting. But they made it clear it wasn't going to happen on the first date.
And to me, that's reasonable, you know. And so like with this question asking about trust, you know, just the word trust, I mean, I feel like that can just mean so many things. There's getting comfortable. I've done things with someone I didn't necessarily trust, but I was comfortable with them, you know, comfortable enough to make the move, to do whatever I needed to do. And, you know, and honestly, it just comes down to what you need, you know. And I've told some other sugar babies, if you're in need, that's a whole different ballgame. You know, if you are just kind of luxuriously searching and shopping around for a sugar daddy, yeah, you can afford to be like, I want to wait this long. I want to do this. I want to do that.
You're
but there's some girls that are like, you need rent paid. Only thing you can trust is that you need rent paid.
Yeah.
And then whatever you need to do. But you've said it already before that being in those strapped situations, that's always
tough.
Bad, you know, but
the ironic part is when you're desperate for money, a sugar daddy is the way to go, but then you might do things out of desperation that you normally wouldn't do.
Put yourself in some dangerous
kind of a double-edged
situations.
sword there.
Yeah. Or just, you know, you kind of got to leapfrog. But I think my final answer to that is if you're the type that needs a lot more time to feel comfortable, just understand that might cut back some of your opportunities. And if you're okay with that, then okay.
I would say most every sugar daddy wants to progress it to the sexual part fairly quickly. And even though they may pressure you in the very beginning, even on the first date, I think if you withhold, but then eventually you consummate the relationship, they have more respect for you.
Yeah.
Even though they really, really wanted the first date.
Yeah, I agree. And there's, like I said, there's a middle ground. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be right off the bat, but then at the same vein, you can't treat it necessarily the same way you would with vanilla dating.
Yeah.
With those all those little milestones and timelines, all of that's truncated in the sugar world.
Good. Well, thank you for that topic that you wanted us to discuss. We appreciate you contacting us on Instagram. All right, I've got a letter. Matter of fact, you know this person. It says, "Hey, Marcus, I hope you have been well and not too stressed about the coming party." Well, I am fucking stressed about the party. You have no idea. You have no idea what work is involved in coordinating people from all over the world, flights, transportation, lodging, parties, favors, this and that, the party bus. I could go on. Anyway, but it's going to be fun. Lily has been a godsend. She's helping me with this, and she's really good at coordinating. So, okay, onward. It says, us ladies are chatting in our WhatsApp, and I was telling the girls about picture collectors and hobbyists. Men who are on chat rooms and websites posting pics of women they interact with and rating and reviewing them. You know, I don't know where that is. I'm going to have to find it. Most of the girls did not know anything about this. Someone mentioned it would be a good podcast topic, and I think she's right. Not sure how you feel about from a sugar daddy point of view, but it would be a great safety tip for women to understand that their spicy photos and nudes are traveling the net for anyone to see, and that we take the risk of ending up being intimately reviewed and even defamed on the net by being in a sex work adjacent lifestyle. Women can be better aware and make informed choices when posting or sharing sexual pics or videos with knowledge that it may not stay between them and their sugar daddy. Just an idea that would make for a spicy, controversial episode that might get a lot of people commenting and listening. Take care and looking forward to seeing you soon. Hazel.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that coming up. Actually, within the chat, someone actually posted the actual websites.
Really?
So there's several websites.
Can you forward those to me?
Sure, of course. There's several websites, and actually a few of them actually have a fee. So you actually have to pay to access them. So the guys actually pay to access the websites, and then apparently there's some sort of inventory where it's got the photos, and then some has even the reviews that she spoke of.
Who has time for that?
Apparently somebody does,
Yeah.
because it looked like quite a bit. I didn't have time to go in and click on the links and check anything out yet, but it's all saved within the course of our WhatsApp. But I was very shocked. I mean, obviously, once pictures are taken, I mean, because I think about the pictures I take from the website and send to my friends or whatever and be like, hey, I'm going to meet with this guy. And, so you're thinking, okay, your pictures are going to go somewhere. Like there's no expectation of full anonymity on these sites. But to know that there's this level of reviewing and the naked pictures and some of the ones you're sending to the actual guys, yeah, that's a little scary.
Yeah, I had no idea. But, I mean, you are sending these to random people. So I just signed up back on Seeking a few weeks ago. I've talked about this. And it's mainly for podcast research. And I can't do it on Seeking, but once I get them off the site, I can talk about the Patreon and the podcast. And I've been doing that. And I've gotten, I'd say like 80% positive interaction about it. Some people aren't so thrilled about it because I want to be discreet. This is not for me. Okay, that's fine. But I can't tell you how many girls message me offline, not only using their real phone numbers, which is, when are we going to get that message across to them? But number two, they send me nude pictures from the get-go. I don't even ask for those. I never asked for those.
They think that's what you got to do.
I mean, they send me some very spicy photos with their face in them. They don't know me from Adam. And it just still shocks me to this day. I appreciate it. Like, thank you very much. Ooh, you just kind of got my blood going a little bit there. But I am not the kind of guy that's going to ask for a girl right off the bat, or even really must down the line, unless we really, really know each other, to send me those type of photos. But so many do.
A lot of guys do ask.
Here's another funny thing. There's a girl, as a matter of fact, she just moved from like Alabama or Mississippi or something to Arizona. And she messages me, and in her profile, she says, absolutely, if you don't use an iPhone and your texts are green, this is not going to work. So I messaged her, and I was like, hey, since you just moved here, and I can tell you're a real profile because no fake profile ever says that, message me at this number. Yeah, and I put in parentheses, I said, yes, it's a Google Voice number, and I do have an iPhone, but I will give that to you when I feel comfortable. And she's like, nope, not going to do it unless you have an iPhone.
So she's thinking it's like a scam.
No, she's set in her ways. And I'm thinking, Podcast Fanboy doesn't have an iPhone. So she's missing out. Let's say that he's trying to message her. She's missing out on so many great people. Wow. That's so fucking petty. But I see that I've seen that more than once where people are like, no green text.
That's getting specific.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that.
I mean, people get all riled up over that. I had an Android forever. I grew up with Google phones, and then I went to the Samsung phones, and then I was on Google platform forever. And then only 2 years ago, I changed over to iPhone. And I just can't believe what a cult it is.
Oh, yeah. Anything Apple.
Now,
the whole world.
Granted, there are some things that I like about Apple, and that's picture sharing is easier, and videos are almost seamless when sharing those versus Android. Now, I don't know. I'm sure Android's gotten better. But Android, there's so many better things on Android.
Yeah, I like the
so
camera.
Many.
The camera quality seems
camera
a lot
quality,
better to me.
brightness of screen, and then the sharing of contacts is so much easier in Android. Like I could have a random number. They'll message me and they'll go, "Hey, my friend told me that you're in construction and I'm looking for a good painter. I don't have this number in my contacts. All I have to do is push a button next to the reply message, where I'm going to message. And one of the options is to send him a contact. You can't do that on iPhone. I would have to save that guy's number into my contacts.
Yep.
Then I would have to go to my painter's contact info. Then I'd have to scroll down, say share this contact. Then I would have to go find his contact that I just had to save. Then I can share it. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And if anybody works with Apple that listens to this, please fix that feature. That is one of my biggest annoying things because I share contacts a lot. It's not user friendly in Apple.
Unless you have the phone to phone, where you touch your phone with someone else's phone.
But I just gave you an example, and I get this happen to me all the time, and it'll continue to happen. It was so easy on Android. So that so there are things, and I can see why people don't have iPhones and they have Androids. But to make that a qualifying factor why you will not see somebody, that is absolutely insane to me.
That's just an additional barrier. And I'm always talking to the other sugar babies about that.
God.
Like, you don't want to add more barriers. It's already hard enough.
I know, right? We were talking about picture collectors, girls. I mean, just know that if you send nudes out to men,
Yep, it is what it is at that point.
It is what it is. I mean, you take the risk, right? It's like having sex without a condom.
I know. I've got to think more about
it is what it is. You take the risk.
the photo thing. I've got to be a little bit smarter about that myself.
Yeah.
Get comfortable and
now
start sending.
Probably 80 to 90% of the men you can trust, but you do not know who you're talking to online.
No, that's totally.
And we've had stalkers, we've had creepers, we've had people that seemed normal in the beginning, and then they became absolutely batshit crazy.
Oh yeah.
You don't know somebody until you know them. And then even, like I was married for 16 years. Their size of my wife, I still don't know. My ex-wife.
And that's kind of how it goes with, a lot of these guys. They're sometimes they say they're looking for one thing on Seeking even. And a lot of times it turns out they're looking for something completely different, but they may not want to be honest with you at first about it.
Okay. I got quite a few things here. And we're not even going to get close to getting through all these, but we'll get through as much as we can. Another letter. Hello there. Thank you, Marcus, wishing Lily a fast recovery. I am just setting up my profile right now. I haven't set up my bio section yet, just photos, and I'm already getting bites. Well, that's because men are hungry dogs. They don't read a lot of them don't even read the bios. Do you think it's wise or important to share that I have a child? I feel that side of my life I would like to keep private. What are your thoughts? A major reason why I wouldn't want to share that part of my life is not to be preyed upon by being a single mother and to protect my child from any pedos. Yet another reason why I would share that would be because of scheduling arrangements concerns. Thank you, Angie. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
I have thoughts, but I want to hear yours.
Oh, absolutely. Immediate thought. First of all, there's two parts of it. One, they're sharing that you have the child, period. And then number two, they're sharing that part of her life because she kind of clumps it into one, but it's really two different things. I really think that sharing that you have a kid definitely is important. I think that they should definitely do that. And she answered herself a little bit in the message because that way, in case you have issues with scheduling or if you need special accommodations or something like that, you want to give them a chance to know what they're dealing with. And I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of sugar daddies, like a lot of the profiles I see on Seeking, they seem to be completely okay with single moms or they'll make some comment that, they're fine with it just, as long as the arrangement is, dealt with or that the single mom has that part of their life under control. But I don't think there's any expectation that she would need to make any introductions,
right?
Or like speed up that, she could keep that part of her life completely separate if she so chose. But I don't think that simply revealing that you have a child is going to put that child in danger or is going to, not more so than, there's some women that will say, oh, I don't want to tell the sugar daddy I have a child, but then their Instagram and their Facebook, they have their kids splashed all over every social media. So it's like, is it really about protecting the kid?
Well, that happened to...
Is it like, what is it really about here?
JJ, he was dating a woman and she hid the child from him and even blocked him from the photographs on Instagram and social media. So he didn't find out till later.
Yeah,
but
way down the line. And then he wasn't happy about that.
Right.
But he
could have...
a whole
trust issue there.
He could possibly have maybe not been happy about it at the beginning, but might have warmed up to it.
Well, men are a lot more lenient. Like you could be a absolutely drop dead gorgeous cashier at McDonald's with 3 kids. Men will let it slide.
All my friends that have kids by all these different guys, they always have some guy.
There's not much of a criteria except men being attracted to you. They'll let a lot of stuff slide.
Yeah, I think
they don't care about your job as much or whether you have a couple kids or things like that.
Yeah, as long as it's situated, like you have the situation under control to where everybody's safe and comfortable. I don't think as a sugar baby you have to make a big production about the kid on your profile or whatever. But I don't think trying to like play like you don't have one is going to be a problem. And I feel like as far as the fear of being preyed upon, I mean, I honestly don't think that that's how a lot of the sugar daddies go about their search is like, okay, well, now I'm going to prey upon, maybe they'll prey upon.
Here's
like
the deal. Sugar
group,
daddies have a lot to lose.
Right.
I'm not saying it's insurance of it not happening, but if I've worked this hard all my life and I've accumulated some wealth and some means, I'm not about to destroy it over preying on somebody's kid.
Right. I think that's probably a stretch. And I'm not saying it's not an option or it's not something that can happen.
Yeah, it
but
can
I'm just
certainly
saying
happen,
not
but
more or less than it would on traditional social media sites. You know, now if somebody like the person who wrote the letter or similar, now if they kept their kids completely off of all social media, like the celebrities do, you know, covering their faces, okay, I could see that. But most people's kids can be information about them or their pictures or something can be found if somebody's just that serious about it, seeking notwithstanding. But I think that saying that you have kids or a kid or just a very generic mention that you have a kid, I just don't think that's going to harm, you know, especially in, you know,
I've had people hide it from me. Like they didn't tell me they had any kids and they sprung it on me later, or I found out later. It was unappreciated. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I have dated plenty of single moms. It's not a problem. Matter of fact, if and when they're ready to introduce me to their kids, you know, because they trust me at this point, I've actually fallen in love with the kids and I have treated the kids like the father that they're missing many times. And that's what was hard about my breakup with Madison, the 2.5-year relationship, is I loved her kids. You know, I was mentoring them. I was teaching them things. I was imagining myself helping them grow through all the trials that they're about to have as they enter school. And I don't know, that was Madison I could let go. There's more Madisons. But the kids, I mean, they were so impressionable. And I just absolutely loved being a good influence. I love being a good influence to anybody I meet. And that's a big reason why I started the podcast. And I even have that on my profile, is that I have discovered that I can just tell people a few things, and these just few things, and whatever it may be, can absolutely change their life. And when I realized that, and anybody has that power, anybody, not just me, I'm just saying anybody. And once I realized I had that power, I really enjoyed being a positive influence to somebody. You know, if I could just tell them the quick story of the Chinese farmer. I heard that story. It's a 1-minute story. I've got a link to it at the bottom of our website on the homepage. But it's just a quick story, a parable about how good and bad things kept happening to this Chinese farmer. And you never know when something good is actually bad, like winning the lottery. Somebody like, oh my God, how great, you just won the lottery. Yet it destroys your family. Or where I lost my job in 2004 and people were like, oh, I'm so sorry you lost your job. I started flipping homes and got into real estate. I made
everything
10 times my income the next year. And I'm like, that bad thing that you thought was so bad was the best thing that happened to me in my career in 2004.
One more thing that just came to mind about the single moms or the, you know, having kids. I've actually had guys get suspicious of me because I don't have kids. So there's actually some potential sugar daddies on Seeking that have kids that are adult kids. And so they perceive someone like me as a potential problem because they're thinking, well, she doesn't have kids. She's still in that age that she can have them. Is she going to try to press me about having kids? Is she someone I got to worry about? You know, so sometimes the sugar daddies actually feel better when you have kids than when you don't.
Interesting.
Because of that very reason. It's happened to me multiple times.
That's why you're here. I love getting your perspective because I don't have that perspective there. Here's a funny thing I found actually in the Reddit group, but it completely is in the Sugar Lifestyle Forum. So a girl writes in, here's my list of all the things that give me the ick by past, current, or never even made it past first date sugar daddies.
Oh.
Except it progressively gets more unhinged as we go. Are you ready for this?
Oh, this can be good.
This is good. This is a good one. He would always call me a knucklehead during serious moments. Oh, I crashed my car? Oh, you knucklehead, you.
That's the worst. Knucklehead.
He wore the same Velcro sandals that my father wears. Velcro bros for life. You know what's bad? I have some Velcro sandals.
I was thinking about I may have some. Hey.
Yeah. He sent me a voice memo saying, "Hi, my little GERD princess. How's your little tummy doing this morning? Remember to take your pilly willy so you don't get sick again."
Okay. As someone with GERD.
Same.
That's diabolical.
Oh, my gosh. He casually mentioned on the meet and greet that he played tennis with my father back in the day. Therefore, he knew me as a child. Someone call Chris Hansen. This is just things that have happened to her. This is to one person. He asked me to call him Pablo in bed. He was extremely pasty white Jewish man. Pablo.
I wonder if she did.
Oh. He sucked up a boba ball into his straw and proceeded to launch it at me. It went in my mouth.
This guy sounds like a kid, a little kid.
Yeah. So this is different experiences from different sugar daddies. Like, these are real things that have happened. He told me how people used to say he looks like a corgi. I couldn't unsee it and had to end the first date early before he tried to kiss me. Bestiality is not on my bingo card.
So he shot himself in the foot with that.
Oh, my God. He said he looked like a corgi. Yeah, once you set that visual, it's hard to unsee it.
Because corgis have cute little booties and legs, so unless he meant that.
Oh, my gosh. Used pictures on his Seeking profile that I took of and with him. He cropped me out and didn't even give me royalties. He would chase my cat around the apartment with a wet washcloth to clean his dingleberries. Sir, please sit down and focus on the other kitty in the room. Oh, my God.
I don't know. I might be all right with that with my dogs. I'll be like, you know what? Go ahead and get both of them while you're at it.
Got a couple more. These are actual things that have happened to the sugar baby when meeting a potential sugar daddy. He reached into my dress to feel my boobs during a moment of passion and mumbled against my lips, "Are you wearing chicken cutlets?" referring to my sticky bra inserts. This was the female equivalent to getting blue balls, I believe. No, she
got it wrong. There.
Yeah,
That's
it's not blue
thing.
balls. It's not the same thing. Yeah. But yeah. And then finally, he bought me tickets to see my first ever insert fancy event. But he didn't warn me that his wife was singing the national anthem, Womp Womp America.
At the event.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, so he bought her tickets, let's say, to a baseball game, but he didn't warn him that his wife was singing the national anthem. Oh.
She's had some good times.
Well, I've heard so many icks from women that their sugar daddies or potential sugar daddies give them. So if you want to share yours, we would love to hear them. So go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com.
I like that. Submit your ick list.
Yeah.
Your ick list.
And then we'll put together a list. And some of them are so off the wall, you're like, that didn't really happen, did it? And they're like, oh, yeah, it happened. Okay, here's a good one. Kind of in what we were talking about. It says, after the meet and greet, how do you suggest intimacy on the next date? I suppose this question is more for sugar daddies since they usually take the initiative with planning the date. But sugar babies are welcome to offer input too. Say the meet and greet goes well and you agree on financial support, schedule, boundaries, etc. Before the next date, how do you approach the expectation of intimacy? Do you just assume sex will be involved? Do you give an obnoxious hint like mentioning you reserved a hotel nearby? Do you directly ask them if they feel comfortable enough to have sex? That's the whole thing with the communication. Some of it is very nonverbal. You just have chemistry and you're just feeling it. But when you first meet somebody and you get an arrangement and stuff, I had this really funny thing happen where it didn't involve sex. So this was early on in my sugar dating life. I met this girl for sushi. We had a great talk. She was super cute. I was instantly attracted to her. younger, of course, like in her 20s, early 20s, I think, like 22, 23. She was a student. I was in my 40s, like 48 or so. And I said, well, I mean, I really like you. She goes, yeah, I'd love to be in an arrangement with you. Okay, yeah, I would love that too. So we talked about arrangement would be like, the financial part. I said, well, I'd love to meet you like 1 to 2 times a week, and here's what I'm offering. She's like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, oh, okay. Wow, you're so agreeable. This is just nice. Easy. I mean, things are going great. So when are you free next? And she told me. I go, great. So, I mean, we could always make dinner at my house and have some fun afterwards. She's like, oh, no, there's no sex involved.
Oh.
Well,
so what are we doing? So what are we doing?
Well, I don't need a friend just to hang out with right now. Like, I have my needs, and I do love a balanced arrangement. I love going out to dinner. I love having drinks. I love talking about your life and your goals, aspirations, dreams, and seeing what I can do to help you. But there's no sex involved.
I mean, there's got to be, and there's got to be a balance. Like, you know, I have my main SD. We don't have as much physical activity due to his age and sometimes his health. So recently I kind of was on Seeking, and I just found a new guy who that's our whole purpose is pretty much just, I call him a sex only sugar daddy.
Sometimes we have those.
Sex only sugar, but that's kind of how it happened on our first meet and greet. We just talked and everything was cool, but we both felt that chemistry, and then we basically just talked about it. Okay, well, our next meeting and then all the following, we're going to meet at X hotel at this time. This is what we're going to do. But we both just kind of made it clear during that meet and greet that our weekly meetings were going to consist of certain things. And we were into each other. So we were happy to talk explicitly about what we both liked, what we wanted to do, what part of town we wanted to meet on, the money, how it was all going to work. And now it started out that way, but now we're already wanting to go places together, do things, go to a concert. So it'll be a little bit more balanced. But
when you enjoy each other, the sex lasts however long, 20, 30 minutes maybe. And what are you going to do with the rest of your time? I'm hungry. Let's go out to eat.
Yeah. Or just talk, or like how we did. We ended up, it was supposed to just be an hour. It ended up being 2 or 3 hours, but half of that was just us talking. And like he had a bottle of wine, we opened that up, we started chit chatting and then talking about business and, laughing, and that time just flew by. We were having a great time. I actually can't wait to see him next week.
I love it. I love it. It's just growing naturally, organically. Here's one that you've actually commented on quite a bit. Is it okay to dress casually for a meet and greet? As a new sugar daddy, I don't own any nice clothes. Really? I usually wear hoodies and gym pants. Also wear slip-on sneakers. All right, somebody needs to help this guy with his wardrobe.
Not slip-on sneakers.
Yeah. I mean, I love slip-on sneakers, but I'm not wearing those on a meet and greet.
You don't even have them on now. You have on regular sneakers.
Right. Now I am imagining if the sugar baby shows up dressing nicely, she can feel awkward with me. How do you normally dress for a bar drinks meet and greet? I can buy some expensive clothes, but I don't want to misrepresent myself. Probably I can give a heads up and say dress code will be casual instead. Thoughts?
Yeah. I've had potential sugar daddies do that too, where they'll say, hey, it's just going to be this. I'm just wearing this. I'm just wearing that. And you're right. There's been some recent activity kind of going back and forth about this. And I remember there was an SD on the show maybe a few months back who came on, and he kind of had a little bit of an attitude. I didn't too much like him, but I did like his one comment. He said he's made a comment about women showing up at the meet and greets with like hiking boots and workout clothes.
Oh, yeah.
And, and I kind of agreed that. Now, I did make my caveat that, if you're a workout guru and the guy's a workout guru and that's just your world, then hey, it is what it is. But I also said in my original episode about being a black sugar baby and how I always take extra care with how I dress and how I look, just to kind of make up for a perceived gap. But taking race out of the picture, I mean, I honestly agreed with that sugar daddy, that first meet and greet, that could be it. I mean, that could be do or die. So while you don't want to overdress or be too whore-like is what I call it. Because actually my very first meet and greet, I dressed like kind of a prostitute. Yeah. And I still think back on it and I just get so embarrassed and just paralyzed with shame about how I dressed. But again, the podcast, you guys were talking on an episode of the podcast about that look needs to have like a classy feel, sexy, but still classy.
Yeah, we're not here to interview a street hooker. Right, and I've had women show up like that.
Yeah, because that's what I thought at first. I thought that's what was necessary because I watched that show, The Girlfriend Experience. So I thought that's what you're supposed to do. But that said, I think that if the sugar daddy's leading you by saying, hey, it's going to be more casual, but even if they say casual, for me, that's still like if I'm doing jeans, I'm still going to have on nice shoes. I'm still going to have nice jewelry. I'm still going to do makeup. I'm not going to just have like ponytail, yoga pants, Phoenix Suns t-shirt, something.
Right.
To me,
you're interviewing for a job here.
Right. A potentially very good paying one.
Right. To the tunes of could be 6 figures.
Right.
With all the benefits.
You add it all up. Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah. I think that to err on the side of caution, and I think for the males, I think it's very easy for a reasonable price to still look snappy casual, they call it.
And I'm telling you what,
casual.
Maybe some of the, I don't ever want to call anybody a lower end sugar baby. Maybe some of the sugar babies that don't have as much of a criteria for their sugar daddies and will pretty much take anybody, they'll let that slide. But the high quality women are not going to let that slide.
I notice it. Like I'll be looking at, like certain small things, and it just kind of gives you little hints about the guy, just like they look at us for little hints.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had guys turn me away because they noticed my earrings were $500. And they were just like, well, we noticed you had on $500 earrings, and that's just too rich for my blood. I don't even want, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And actually, they're right here. I took them off because they're messing with my earphones.
Really? I have never looked at a girl and thought her earrings were too expensive for me.
He said your earrings were expensive, and so I was like, she's obviously not in my realm. But the sugar babies also evaluate those things too,
Yeah, a good sugar baby. This one says, a sugar daddy completely devoid of any fashion sense is a hard pass for me. You know who has a lot of good fashion sense? Podcast fanboy.
Oh, okay.
He, for being his age, 67 or whatever he is now, he has got it going on in his fashion. Matter of fact, I look at his outfits sometimes and go, I need to pick up my game.
Yeah, because a lot of SDs aren't super fashionable.
Right.
Like, when I come across one, I'm like,
Trucker has very good fashion. Nice. Yeah, he buys really nice clothes. And I don't know if Lily helps dress him, but I've never seen Trucker not have good fashion out when we go out to dinner. So it doesn't matter what age you are, men, even though you have the funds and you're the one paying, you still got to bring some fashion.
Yeah, you still want to send a good message, especially if you're into the fashionable girls, if those ones pique your interest.
All right. And finally, I got time for one more. Let's talk about this one. Let's see. Man, I got so many good ones. I'm just going to have to do them for next time. But let's talk about this one real quick. I'm a little bit paranoid after the way my last arrangement ended. This is from a sugar baby. He only ever knew my first name and managed to basically find out my entire life. Texted from different numbers for months. So I wanted to see how others are handling their arrangements. Do you give out your information? If so, and when? And if not, how do you manage that? So do you use your real name or not? And for how long?
I use my real name pretty much right off the bat. But I'm also trying to work on doing better about my initial security and all that stuff. I'm probably one of the worst about it. So I do use I may not throw last name out there, but I do use my real first name.
Yeah, it is quite easy to skip trace somebody and find out their real information, their real address, their social accounts with today's internet. It's very, very easy. I do it.
Yeah.
I do it for my safety. People used to call me a stalker for doing it. Other people called me a very wise man.
And they're right.
Right?
I mean, both sides of the fence.
You want to know as much about that person as you can so you know what you're getting into. I have not done background checks or not done skip trace people. Later found out that they just got out of prison for meth.
Yeah. And that's,
so you need to be an informed dater. Use the tools that you have available to you to get as much information. Alejandra did a background check on me before we started. Like, as we just started dating, she paid for a background check on me.
Oh, wow. She's good.
And then they act like they don't know anything. They'll ask you questions to see if the answers line up to what they already know.
Okay, so now she might be the wisest woman.
I have done that also. I don't think I've paid for a background check because I know how to skip trace people. Being a landlord,
yeah,
I know how to
kind of do
I
that.
know what websites to look at to see if they've been arrested for a DUI or a criminal act. Like, I have found past sugar babies who are in the criminal records of our justice system here and the reasons why. And it's alarming.
Wow.
There was a girl I met a few years ago, and I liked her a lot. We got along great. We were on the same page. I didn't pursue that because I found a lot of, in the court records, there was a domestic violence charge against her.
Oh, wow.
And she was as sweet as you could be. I mean, but there's a side that I'm like, there's some potential here. And then she's like, hey, whatever happened? I thought we got along great. I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry. I ended up getting into an arrangement. And then,
You're like, I didn't want to catch a beat down, but
yeah,
good
but
day.
I was like, man, this girl's unstable. They'll show one side of you, but then there's this whole other side to you.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
side to
like
them.
you said, that's one of those risks that we run too.
But I appreciate her giving me her real phone number, so I was able to look up all that information. But girls, you got to stop doing that. There's also the problem with the addresses. And our co-host, Amy, my very first co-host. Matter of fact, I told that girl, the one who insisted on the iPhone, because, you know, it's not going to be a fake number. It's going to be a real number. I said, look, you need to stop using your real number, because my co-host literally had a guy from Seeking walk in her house. She was sleeping. She looked up and he was
in there.
And he had never been to her house before. Walked in uninvited. Scared the living fire out of her.
God.
She's had people stalk her. She's had people wait. And then she ended up moving to this apartment in Tempe. And she's had people outside who sent her messages about things that she was doing at her apartment.
Watching her every move.
Yeah, and it freaked her out. Women, stop using your Google Voice is free. There's other free texting apps. You got to be careful out there.
Yeah, I've got to get better about that.
I like you giving me your real number because it gives me all the information I need to be prepared for the date, but it's not the smart thing to do. We'll leave it at that. Well, they're giving me the signal that we are out of time. Desiree, thank you so much for this. Is fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love talking about these topics, and these are all relevant to what we're dealing with.
Yes, they are.
And, you know, I got this comment on YouTube. It was like, you guys didn't talk about anything sugar dating on this one episode. And I'm like, there's so many realms of sugar dating and we try to cover it all. But this, I love going over listener letters. I love going over these scenarios because we can all learn from those. And the smarter we get, the better we get.
Absolutely.
And more success that we find. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you guys want to write to us and share your crazy sugar dating stories, questions, or comments, we'd love to hear them. Go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. Like I said, this episode's going to be coming out the week of our party. So we are going to actually do some offsite interviews like we did last time. And so we should have 4 or 5 really good podcast episodes from people attending our party, hopefully some extra sugars and things like that. So be looking forward to those here in a few weeks. And we're going to have another one. I think I've got Shakira lined up. It's going to be a little bit different structure. But, I mean, we got great bands coming through town all the time. And, you know, we're just going to continue to grow this. It's a lot of fun. So, all right. Once again, Desiree, always appreciate you in the house.
You're welcome.
Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.